Hello, everyone. Welcome to Divine Debut. This is Kathy speaking. Thank you so much for being here for your August 1st until the 20th, 2019. This month it's going to be a little bit different. The second part of August, I will be reading for you around the 20th of the month. And that's because mid-month I'm really busy, so I won't be able to do the readings. So these readings for August from the 1st till the 20th, let me just look at the astrological important transits that I need to mention before I start the tarot for you. And I'd just like to thank everyone for all that you do, for me and my channel. It's a big blessing. Thank you all so much. Let's look at the transits a little bit quickly because they're important. I will put in the description box below of course, the cards that I'm using, as well as that the timestamps, so that you can go straight to the tarot for those of you that are not interested in the important transits. So, first of all, Mercury turns direct on the 31st of July. So therefore, you will probably have these readings just as Mercury is turning direct. So for those of you Leos out there that have your birthday on the 31st of July, or give or take a couple of days, but mainly for the people who are born and have their birthday on the 31st of July, this is a new beginning for you. This is amazing. Why? First of all, there's a new moon in Leo on the 31st of July, which is amazing. And that's like a wild card for all of you. It's a wild card because the new moon being on your birthday says that usually on a new moon we can ask the divine, ask the universe for something to begin, something that we're wanting to manifest. Having the new moon on your birthday is 10 times stronger for those of you that have your birthday on the last day of July. So, first of all, happy birthday to those of you that I have not said happy birthday to. And second of all, for everyone, Mercury turns direct on the 31st of July, same day as the new moon in Leo. Now, Mercury turns direct. It stations direct, which means that stationing means it's sort of stopping in the sky. So it's stopping, turning backwards, and it's going to stop before it can start moving direct, right? So that's a very potent position for Mercury to be in, where it's stationing to go direct. That's like extra amplified energies of Mercury. Now it's going to be turning direct at practically 24 degrees of Cancer. So you know what the funny thing is that 24 degrees of Capricorn was where the lunar eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse took place in Capricorn on the 16th of July. So that's really strange that Mercury is going to station and turn direct on the same degree of that full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Things don't happen for a reason. Everything is calculated. God, the divine, they know what they're doing. So, of course, Mercury being in shadow will come out of its shadow. So it's going to be covering the area that it's been retrograding. So just a little bit of trivia for those of you that love astrology. So Mercury stationed and turned retrograde on the 7th of July 2019 at 4 degrees and 28 minutes of Leo. So, it was at 4 degrees of Leo, 4:28 of Leo, and that's where it's stationed to turn retrograde. And the funny thing is that if we recall back to the 27th of July 2018, that was a full moon lunar eclipse in Aquarius at 4 degrees and 45 minutes, which is, it's exact. Like, Aquarius is right opposite Leo. So Mercury is here now at 4 degrees and 28 minutes. It turned retrograde. And the full moon lunar eclipse, in Aquarius on the 27th of July 2018 was at 4:45. So that's very relative. It's very strange that Mercury actually turned retrograde, stationed and turned retrograde at the same degree that the full moon lunar eclipse in Aquarius last year, 27th of July 2018, that's where the eclipse happened. And that was a huge eclipse because if I recall, Mars was retrograde on the eclipse, and Mars and Uranus were squaring. Uranus was in Taurus, and Mars in Aquarius was squaring Uranus. That was a really, really, really hard time, very difficult. So where were you? What was happening in your life on the 27th of July 2018? Whatever was going on for you is going to be, again, it's like, bringing things up, but I would say more than likely it's like finishing up because Mercury will be turning direct. Okay, so on the 15th of August, Mercury will be out of shadow. Therefore, that means that it will have covered the area where it retrograded. And it's like, moving into brand new territory, like, turning a new leaf. So I think that, things from the past, from past July, will be coming back up, but we may see a culmination. You know what I mean? Like, it's like closing that subject up. It's done. So, yeah, you may have noticed that things during Mercury retrograde have come back from that time, mid-year of 2018. So, as I said, a new moon also on the same day, on the 31st of July, and that is the new moon in Leo. So, for Leo people, this is amazing. A new moon in your sign, this is the lucky time for you guys. So it's also like beginning something new for you. Of course, new moons are for everyone, and we can all make our wish on the new moon. Of course, it takes a couple of days before we can actually see that new moon crescent in the sky. So when you can actually see the moon, set your intentions and give your, send your wishes out to the divine, because the heavens are open and listening. So what else is very important is the 11th of August, Jupiter stations direct at 14 degrees and 30 minutes of Sagittarius. Now, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so that is amazing. Why? Because Jupiter, of course, is the benefic planet, and the fact that it's going to station direct, so again, as I said, it's going to stop retrograding, it's going to turn, it's going to station, which means it slows down a lot, and therefore its energies become much more potent, much stronger before it starts to slowly turn direct. Now it's in its home sign, so therefore that means that obviously it's beautiful. It's going to be very, very strong. So, Jupiter is will turn direct at 14 degrees and 30 minutes of Sagittarius. It did reach up to 24 degrees and 21 of Sagittarius before it actually turned retrograde, came back to 14 degrees and 30. Now it's going to be covering that time, those degrees, I should say, from 14 degrees till 24 degrees. And, we go up to 30 degrees. So those 6 degrees from 24 to 30 of Jupiter transiting on the 5th of 11th, the 5th of November, it will reach up to 24 degrees and 21 minutes where it will come out of its shadow. So from the 5th of November, everyone, the blessings are here. And I remember I think I do remember that last year Jupiter moved into its home sign of Sagittarius on the 8th of November. So now it's going to take it a little bit longer. It's going to go over November, beginning of December. Jupiter will be finishing its transit in its home sign of Sagittarius. So I don't know if most of you know, but Jupiter's transit in each sign is about 13 months. So if you calculate 13 months in each sign roughly, times 12, which is the zodiac, it's roughly around, its transit around the whole horoscope is roughly around 13 years, 12 to 13 years. So it's a big deal. It's like, Jupiter has started a brand new cycle from last year, starting with its home sign, right? And it's going to do the whole horoscope. So take advantage of it. Jupiter is amazing. For those of you that know what your astrology and your chart, you would know which house in your chart Jupiter is transiting. So, of course, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So for Sagittarians, it's luckier, right? It does more for Sagittarius. It's transiting that sign. So from December onwards, dear Capricorn, you are going to be hosting Jupiter, which is going to be amazing. Now, one thing only, I have to mention that, yes, Jupiter expands on everything it touches, and it's benevolent. But there are those small moments where Jupiter can expand on something negative as well. Okay, mostly he's positive, but we do have, depending on the transits, where it's at, and the planets it's meeting up in the sky. So let's go on to the next transit, which is on the same day, the 11th of August, Uranus turns retrograde at 6 degrees and 37 minutes of Taurus. Now, Uranus will be retrograde up until the 10th of January 2020, where from 6 degrees in Taurus, it's going back to 2 degrees and 39 minutes of Taurus again. And that's when it's going to station direct. So it's going to be very strong around the 10th of January. Now, just letting you all know that I think on the 10th of January, yes, we've got another eclipse. Wow. I mean, January is going to be mind-blowing. There's going to be a party in Capricorn. Uranus will be stationing direct. So it's going to be a wow month, January is going to be. I'm just letting you know now. The energies are not easy, especially because Jupiter will be joining into the party, will be joining all the big players, Pluto, Saturn, South Node in Capricorn. Jupiter will be joining in. And not only, we're going to be having Mars move in there and a whole lot of things happening around that time. So it is huge. And also I'd like to just point out that on the 26th of April 2020, Uranus at 6 degrees and 37 minutes will be leaving its retrograde zone. So it will have been in shadow from 10th of January until the end of April. So, yeah, that's going to be a very important time, that whole period. And lastly, on the 15th of August, we're having a full moon in Aquarius at 22 degrees and 24 minutes of Aquarius. Okay, so full moons do mean culminations, of course. So something is coming to an end, something is finishing up. So logically, for those of you that are Aquarians out there, if you have made when you had your new moon 6 months ago, in your sign, so around your birthday, obviously, when we have our new moon, and that's our wild card, that's when we make our wish. This will be the culmination of whatever you've wished for around your birthday and around the new moon in Aquarius. Oh, I forgot to add that with Uranus turning retrograde, Uranus rules Aquarius. So, dear Aquarians out there, your ruler will be turning retrograde, which means that it's a time of, retrogrades are always a time of actually going inwards and looking at things, going over things, redoing things, right, in our life. So it's I'm going to say it's a bit of a breather where you can actually catch up, because Uranian energy is so quick. Sometimes, God has seen to fitting everyone's needs in. So Uranus turning retrograde for about 5 months. It does give everyone a chance, and especially you, since it's your ruler, to catch up with things, right? So 11th of August until the 10th of January, that's 5 months. And it's going to be in shadow for about 3.5 months. So it's quite a long transit. But when it's in shadow, when it turns direct, it stations to turn direct and it's covering the shadow period, doesn't mean we're not doing things. It only means that we're covering the area that where Uranus retrograded. So we're redoing things. We are taking action. Yes, things are changing. So that's why it's the retrograde only time, not the shadow time, that we're sort of redirecting, going inwards. Okay, so I hope you understand what I mean. For those of you that do not know, hopefully that was helpful for you. One last thing, because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, my dear Taurians out there, wow, it's a big time for you. It really is. But thank goodness, as I said, you are given a breather as well. It's time to turn inwards, look at the changes that you've already formulated or taken action on now, up until now, before, Uranus turns retrograde. So you're going to be given time to actually look over those things and tweak whatever needs tweaking or changing. Okay, because once Uranus starts to turn direct again, and because it's in the sign of Taurus, of course, it will be affecting everyone, but mostly Aquarians because it's their ruler, and Taurus because it's in the sign of Taurus. Okay, everyone. So thank you again for your patience. Let's go on to your tarot.